we're reacting today. And I think we're going to start out with a Voidy vid. Is Star Citizen a dark forest? So I'm not sure what does a dark forest mean. So I don't know. I'm ready to just jump right in and be like, all right, what is my dude talking about here? So Voidy vids, is Star Citizen a dark forest?
You've been in this situation before.
Oh, those weren't players. Okay.
You've spent hundreds of hours of your life doing something totally legal and normal in our ludicrous space game. You have no more blood, sweat, and/or tears to pour into the made-up goal you're trying to achieve.
Okay.
And just as you're about to finish and claim the fruits of your hard-earned labor, tragedy strikes.
Who the... Oh my god, the desync. What a terrible video game. Do we blame that on South African internet or the video game, though? It's tough to say.
I remember playing DayZ for the first time many years ago when the game was still quite new, and seeing a video on YouTube of a player getting robbed at gunpoint. There was VoIP involved, no shots were fired, the perpetrators ran off, and the victim remained alive, albeit with a few less beans in his pockets or whatever the f it is you ate to survive in DayZ back in those days. I thought this was a genuinely interesting piece of emergent gameplay that took place. No developer could have designed that interaction to take place the way it did, and the sandbox nature of the game and the looting system allowed it to happen the way it did because the players themselves were responsible for how things played out.
In this case, it seems like they've realized it was Voidy and now they're hanging out because they got him up and we're going here. But yeah, this is always the question, and I do see people hate on DayZ a lot when you bring up DayZ and Star Citizen in the same sentence. But interactions like DayZ is a sandbox game, right? They give you, a few hurdles, and in general, you do with it what you want. There is this like very simple progression that repeats itself always and over and over again, and they give you really good tools in that sandbox. And obviously, there's some sand because there's good weapons, there's base building, there's different food, all sorts of stuff, right? And working VoIP is also a thing that's in DayZ. And like somewhat decent netcode, right? And everybody knows in DayZ, no mic, no life. Really, really simple, right? CIG hasn't figured those aspects of their sandbox yet. But, I don't know if you can see it because I'm covering it, but their interaction was in the F12 chat box. You can see it right above my head right now. That was their interaction. That's shit.
Continued to play a bit of DayZ back then, but quickly realized the game was devolving into Call of Duty with extra steps, and everyone ultimately killed each other on site, even though the game and its systems laid the groundwork for more interesting, potentially emergent gameplay scenarios to take.
I feel like that's probably true as well. Everybody was just kill on site all the time in DayZ. So then what players did was they made servers where killing on site was not like, it was like part of the rules. Like, hey, everybody, we want this good DayZ experience, like buy into it a little bit. That can't be a thing in Star Citizen, right? You can't say on good servers, like this Star Citizen server is good. First off, we can't choose our servers currently. Maybe we'll have a moment of that in the future, but we know what their intentions are later on, which is not that. So hard to say if we can get that in Star Citizen, but yeah, it was always like a server-dependent thing.
If you're familiar with my...
Star Citizen will always be kill on site. I put out a video yesterday that has some ideas to try to prevent that. You can watch it if you want, but essentially, killing on site should come with punishments and long-standing punishments to make you think twice about doing it.
content, you know I don't really have a problem with hostile encounters. It's the nature of many online games, and I'm not even sure if DayZ still generally functions this way, but ultimately I don't really care. What I do care about is the future of random player interactions going forward in our ludicrous space game, Star Citizen.
Okay.
But why, dude, I cannot hear you exclaim. What's this about a dark forest? The dark forest is a theory that if advanced and intelligent alien life existed throughout the universe, it would remain intentionally hidden and undetected, because in the event that two civilizations did detect one another, the ultimate and only logical course of action would be the complete annihilation of the detected species to ensure the survival of your species. Obviously, Star Citizen doesn't suffer from the reality of the laws of physics, the nature of space-time, and the potential impossibility for alien civilizations to communicate with one another that would lead to the existence of a dark forest state of the game. Even though the VoIP is broken, we can communicate with each other instantly and in languages we can understand most of the time. But if you were to ask anyone who actively plays the game in its current state, when you stumble upon someone else throughout the Stanton system randomly while going about your epic space adventures, I'm sure they would have a few stories about how most of their encounters ended up being hostile. Do we want this to happen all the time? Is it even a problem? The reason that this happens at the moment could simply be that there just aren't enough meaningful reasons to do things in the game, but even if they...
I mean, I also think it's just a trust thing. So, like, if you go down to, like, how many times have you left your ship? I talk about this all the time. How many times have you left your ship somewhere? Like, you left your ship. You physically got out of the ship. So it is super vulnerable and you're, like, down in a bunker. How many times have you heard guns hitting your hull or your shields and you just go... But it's logical for a player to do that. Because if they take out your ship, you can't take out theirs, right? So the game has to create these like rules and systems that don't currently exist really. I know that there's obviously a law system, but it is a very rudimentary, exploitable, and not currently good law system because reputation doesn't persist. Something has to be there to say, do I really want to do this? Right? And that's the only thing we have. Because otherwise, every single moment that I come across somebody else, the first thing I do in Star Citizen is think about killing them before they kill me. Because the punishments for dying in this game are brutal in terms of time. I don't want my time wasted. So it's either run or fight. I don't want my time wasted. So I'll shoot first. And that's what I think everybody else is thinking as well. Gotta fix that stuff. Gotta fix that stuff. Gotta create reasons that players want to stay alive. The I'm friendly, and people actually be friendly some of the time at least, would be an absolute godsend. But the first thing they need to do, working VoIP. Please, for the love of
why
God,
would you simply not engage?
For the love of Christ Roberts, our spaceship lord.
Everyone you see, every time you see them. Just because I'm from Johannesburg doesn't mean I want every encounter I have with another human being to end up as a fight. What I would love to see in the future is for there to be a good enough reason for encounters to not be hostile 100% of the time, every time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab... Oh shit, I'm getting f***ed up. What the hell? I don't know if it's NPCs.
Should be.
Yeah, there's an NPC here.
Okay.
Carefully. Oh, no.
What the fuck?
Got him,
Does he have a
got him.
crime stat?
Nice.
It wasn't an NPC, it was the
him.
character pilot.
Global chat certainly exists, and if players are willing, they can form random groups to cooperate to achieve certain goals. I've done this during Xenothreat and Jumptown in the past, and our random pickup groups had some pretty cool times. But what I really want to discuss is the future versions of Star Citizen that may have the systems and features in place that could steer random player encounters in ways that would encourage meaningful and interesting gameplay that has a point and furthers your progression in the game in some impactful way.
Okay.
I think we would would have a more
Let's see
interesting
what
game
Voidy
on our
says.
hands, considering Star Citizen's vast scope, if hostility and conflict was not always the ultimate outcome that nets you, the player, with the most benefit. Personally, I don't want to see Star Citizen devolve into Call of Duty in space, where every time you encounter an
Nobody does. Even the PvP, like the hardcore PvPers, I don't think they want that either. Right? Like the Arena Commander Sweat Lords, I don't even know if, I don't think that's what they want to do forever. Right? I think they want their PvP to be meaningful at some point. Hardcore PvPers just want to bully? I mean, no. PKers want to bully. And that they will always be a thing. They will always be a thing, and they should be a thing. Their life should just be difficult in lawful systems, not lawless ones. And the I'm trying to think. I maybe lost my train of thought here a little bit, but I don't think any player wants that. I think even your hardcore PvPer that is sweating it out in Arena Commander now is sweating it out as like a practice to be ready for when things matter. I mean, I think we're all probably going to laugh at that a little bit because things won't matter for a very long time, most likely. But at the same time, I don't think anybody wants Call of Duty in space. No one wants space rust. That's not true. I even think CIG wants space rust to some extent. Just watch the base building discussion at this past year's CitizenCon. They definitely want some form of space rust in a pyro. I don't think they want space rust in Stanton, but I think they want it to feel that way in pyro. The best gear, not maybe the best materials are in pyro, like some really good ones for, I don't know, some crafting recipe or some shit. And that should be enough to entice a lawful player or a casual player or a non-PvP player, however you want to describe them, to take the risk to go there and build a base and try to extract something, and then it becomes space rust, and it'll be frustrating, it'll be hard, but if you succeed, it'll be worth it, right? That kind of thing. Whether or not that'll work, hard to say. Hopefully it does, though.
the player, the immediate
But they definitely want an element of space rust.
and objectively correct reaction from both parties is to instantly open fire. I think many people want a more sophisticated experience with tangible benefits that make you think twice before committing to combat.
Absolutely.
I've still added.
No way that guy entering the ship blew it up. No way this guy joining from EVA just blew that ship up. No way.
Twice before committing to combat.
I've still added.
Are we soft or hard?
No, we're good.
Voidy.
I
Excuse
don't
me?
believe that anyone really knows for sure how things will pan out in the long run, and there are certainly planned gameplay systems to cater for these eventualities, such as better communication tools, user interface and user experience alongside working VoIP would obviously go a long way to take random player encounters to another level.
We are not dead. This ship is salvageable. But the thing is, we have no thrusters, so I can't go forward or back.
But aside from that, a deeper reputation system comes to mind.
That's
It's not
crazy. SRV time. So the ship didn't even blow up. It was like, you know, one of those explosions when you're dogfighting, and it's like you're doing it, you're almost there. I think the Hornet has that. There's like 3 explosions before, or 2 explosions, and the third one's the actual death.
conceivable to think that when encountering someone else in game, you might be able to get some kind of scan or reading on them or their ship to find out if they've got a reputation or a capacity for the various so-called careers the game wants to ultimately provide, and then engaging them with whatever services they have ultimately benefit you more than if you just offed them and stole all their shit. It all boils down to incentive, but how do we create this incentive if player 1 murdering player 2 nets them the most resources and gain from a hypothetical encounter? I'm not just talking.
This is crazy. I never watched this video. I talked so much about this in my video that I put out yesterday. Damn. It looks like I stole some of these ideas.
about resources in the standard sense, because if a murder hobo wants to murder hobo, what possible gameplay mechanics could exist to deter them from their goal? Personally, from my perspective, murder
Nothing should deter. Well, nothing should deter them from trying necessarily. Outside, like, I think lawful systems should exist. I do. But the complete deter. But reputation, like, my feeling is reputation, like, preceding you and always coming after you. Like, NPCs making your life a living hell needs to be a thing. Right? It shouldn't always be, oh, well, you have a god marker on you. Like, it sucks to die to players, but to be pestered and annoyed constantly while in a system or being overwhelmed by security, like, that should be the deterrent, I feel.
hobos are fine. They
Let's see
add
what
a
he
layer
says.
of danger to the game, but what could possibly incentivize such individuals to actually think twice before
I did
pulling
not
their
pre-watch,
triggers?
though, I
In
promise.
a world where there could be enough survival mechanics built into the game,
Honestly, the whole Dark Forest, I didn't know what it meant. I was like, what is this video even about? Turns out it's like my favorite kind of video. The theory crafting, the one that you can have all sorts of conversation with the video creator, people in chat. Like, it's my favorite videos to watch. I love this stuff. It gets your mind flowing about what Star Citizen can be, how it could play out, and why these things are so important. I love talking about why games are good, and specifically why Star Citizen doesn't do any of this stuff. Like, there's just so many elements of good video games, and you just watch Star Citizen make another fucking location, and you're just like, what are you guys doing? What are you doing? Why aren't you grabbing this and just realizing what you have here? You know what I mean? That's the thing. It's so frustrating because it feels like, and you know they know, but it feels like they don't realize what they have. Or they take for granted what they have, which is us and this experience that could be a thing. And they just take it, they just like ignore it, take advantage of it. Oh, we got time. Bro, you don't have time. Time is ticking. You might have more time than other people because of your funding model or whatever, but you don't have endless time. Get with the fucking program and get to work on this stuff. What are you doing? You have it. It's right there and you're taking it for granted.
and the cost of surviving is extreme enough and the environment hostile enough, the pool of options available to each player can grow into some pretty cool gameplay scenarios.
Okay, so it's definitely locked in a soft death, not soft death state, because it's lost all its shields.
Oh,
and...
What was that?
That was the NPC Mantis. Dude, what is happening in this game?
That's what NPCs should do if you have a crime stat. No, I'm just kidding.
Including trading, exchanging data, cooperating to survive, providing unique services or resources to one another, assisting each other with repairs or tweaks to components to survive the current environment. The hopium-infused list could go on forever. The problem that I ultimately realized that I had with DayZ back in the day was the threat of the zombies or the environment was not extreme enough to deter the experience from constantly devolving into Call of Duty 99% of the time. What could make Star Citizen unique and different, and what incentives could exist to promote player cooperation in various scenarios at least some of the time? Star Citizen has always been a game about incredible potential. To this day, few to very little.
I mean, I straight up talk about this all the time. Terra, I don't think there should be any PvP allowed. I think if you go to Terra and your guns are turned on, security will come up to you and tell you to turn them off, or they're going to fire, or they're going to arrest you, or whatever, right? I think if you land at the station, every FPS weapon should be put in a lockbox and given to them until you leave, right? It should be held for griefers. It just shouldn't, like, in my opinion, it shouldn't even be possible. But there should be almost no rewards to be gained there. Like, sure, you can, like, maybe cargo haul there, but the the fear or the risk should be the jumps and the systems you have to go through to get to there, right? But once you're there, you're there. That's my, so like one of the deterrents should be just not being able to, and that is one system, an incredibly lawful system, like a haven for players to just calm down, hang out, and just like chill, right? But the moment you leave that system, the risk should get increasingly, the further away you get from it, kind of thing. Think Star Wars and the Outer Rim or whatever, right? That like just a lawless place. Like people, you got the Hutts running it when it's an actual like empire system or whatever. But generally, I think like, yeah, there should be just second thoughts before just blasting. There's no consequence for death. So one of the reasons why players blast off or pad ram or just generally not care is because if they lose the fight, there's no consequence either, right? So like reputation should be a thing, but like the punishment for dying, for losing, for failing is the number one thing that would prevent me from thinking about fighting somebody, right? The moment you see somebody, it's like, oh shit, I need to hide in a bush in DayZ, because the punishment for losing is all of that gear you gathered and starting from zero again, right? Do we want that in Star Citizen? I think everybody would argue no. Right? But that DayZ experience of the second thought should apply here in some way, shape, or form. Of the like, ooh, do I want to take this fight? Do I want to take this risk? Right? And that's the thing that we need in Star Citizen, because it's not just if I commit this crime, I'm going to be punished. It's should I even engage in this fight, whether or not I'm a criminal already? Because dying sucks. So I don't know, man.
Other titles can provide the experiences I've had.
What a good video. I love this. I love talking about
and that I've so thoroughly enjoyed creating.
I love talking about what makes games so fun.
Even though the game is
like, when was the last time you played a game? Like name the game that got your heart pumping. Like in a situation like that, like in a PvP situation where like it's me or them. You know? It's me or them. And if I die, it's going to be awful. Right? Ultima Online, Tarkov, Eve, Atlas, Doom Eternal. What? Single player? Really? Fortnite? I guess you could say Fortnite. Right? When I played DayZ like one serious time. And I remember there was somebody on the roof of a police station and I had a sniper and I killed him. I was my heart was going so fast. I was shaking. Right? But like I've had those moments in Ultima Online, like it's such an exhilarating thing. I want that in this game because you want to, if you have to think, if there's a risk, it is so enjoyable. Should that be all the time in Star Citizen? No, though. Right? We need to have the opportunity for that, but not all the time, right? There has to be a balance.
Still in a pretty rough...
Like games like DayZ, it's like all the time, right? It gets to be a bit much.
Place with many features and game systems still nowhere to be seen. We can only hope, as always, that this year's the year. But what are your thoughts? I mentioned in a previous video that I would be diversifying the type of content that I do, and this is it. Just some random thoughts and discussion that I would like to bring to the table. There will be many more epic space adventures soon, but this has been a top...
I literally myself want to start doing that. Like whatever B-rolls on the screen is on the screen, and it's about the conversation. And I just want to talk more about why I love video games. It's so enjoyable. It's so fun. And we all look at the one that we're playing and know that it could be. It just requires them to realize what they have, you know?
topic that I've been interested in for a while now and would love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you channel patrons and channel members for all your support. Your incredible generosity continues to blow me away. Thinking of pledging to this ludicrous space game, then use one of the referral codes on screen now for a free 5,000 starting credits. If you enjoy my content and are interested in supporting the channel beyond a like and a subscribe, check the links in the description. Consider the join button below and follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/voidude. Your continued support genuinely helps me to continue producing these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you around the verse. Cheers.
What a good video. He usually has a little something at the end. So we'll let it play.
Guys, why's my pee blue?
What a dummy. What a dummy. Love Voidy, dude. Love Voidy. I've been playing some Enshrouded offline with Voidy. It's super fun. I need to get back into it, but I've just been like busy putting out like that video that I was talking about, stuff like that. So awesome video. Keep it up, Voidy. I love this kind of content. This is my favorite shit to just sit back, think about, and talk about. And I love thinking about why I love video games. And you know, we're blessed that we get to do this as well, right? And talk about them on a regular basis. And yeah, it just makes me happy. It brings joy to my heart to have conversations like this.